if he didn't turn around, he was going to die overnight. And at that point, I didn't know what else to do. And I actually threw myself face down on the floor in the bathroom and prayed.
Pam Brown was a happy newlywed when tragedy struck. Her husband had a deadly brain tumor, and he suffered serious brain damage during surgery.
He spent 2 months in a comatose state, and after he had gradually worked his way out of that, he still needed months and months of therapy, speech therapy. He couldn't speak, he couldn't swallow.
Pam was determined to help Jim learn to walk and talk again, but the stress took its toll. Her weight to 244. Her life revolved around her husband's crisis.
I mean, I pretty much did everything. He was bound to a wheelchair at first, and so I had to help him get to the bathroom and do everything.
One of the nurses in the hospital, realizing how sick Jim was, told her, she said, you know, honey, if I were you, I would just turn right around and get out of here right now and just don't look back.
24-year-old Pam took her wedding vows seriously. She would stay in sickness and in health.
She's a person who is very committed, and I knew she'd stay with me. I mean, that was not something I was concerned too much about.
Keeping her commitment would take everything Pam had.
Initially, I actually didn't have an appetite the first 2 weeks after surgery. But then after that, that was my only friend. Food was the way I coped.
She was in pretty decent shape. And then when I got sick, it was like she dropped everything.
8 years later, Jim's life weighed 244 pounds. It was not the first time Pam had been too heavy. As a girl, she was a cheerleader and a gymnast. She was muscular as overweight.
One of my friends in gymnastics class saw me doing the splits, and she says, you have cellulite on your legs.
Of course, she really didn't, but it upset her so much. And then she started thinking, oh, I've got to diet. You know, I've got to get this off. And no matter what we said, she still felt that, you know, she was fat.
Pam went on a liquid protein diet when she was only 11 years old. A series of fad diets followed. Through most of high school, the 5'5" teen was 145 pounds. But in college, temptations like pizza and beer took her up to 100. But fellow student Jim Brown thought she looked great.
She was kind of bubbly and had a positive outlook, I guess.
He was so active. I mean, we did bike riding, we trips, and, you know, just did a lot of fun things. And so I knew that he was the right one.
The pair seemed made for each other. They married right after graduation. The future looked bright. Pam got a job in engineering and law school. To have late Jim was diagnosed with a life-threatening brain tumor.
He was in law school one day, and 2 days later, he was comatose in the hospital after the surgery, and he was in fetal position for, 2 months?
As she watched her husband struggle to walk and talk again, the stress was unbearable. Pam stopped exercising and started eating.
It was gym and work, and if I had moments by myself, I'd eat. I mean, chocolate chip cookies were my best friend.
Pam put on 25 pounds in 9 months.
So neat to see him finally going on his own. And he didn't need me to hold his hand so tight or hold my arm around him.
6 years later, the future seemed bright again when the couple had a baby. But all was not well. When Pam got pregnant, she weighed 215 pounds. Her weight contributed to a case of gestational diabetes. Birthday, Pam weighed 244 pounds. It was Jim's turn to be concerned.
I was a little worried about her health, like not her weight necessarily, but like her heart.
Pam made brief attempts to diet, but became easily discouraged and quit.
And I just didn't care. I didn't care about Pam.
She was ready to give up when a visit to the doctor woke her up. The doctor warned Pam she was at risk for high blood pressure and a more long-term case of diabetes.
I walked away from that doctor's appointment thinking to myself, Pam, you've got two choices. You know, you can either be fat for the rest of your life, or you can do something about it and change.
She knew that change would not happen overnight. But if Jim could walk again, she could lose weight. Pam simply needed to learn how to care for someone new, herself. Helping her husband Jim recover from brain surgery. Stressed out, Pam ate her way to 244 pounds. She grew from a size 10 to a size 24. Jim risked for high blood pressure.
I really felt hopeless. I felt as if I could never change.
But she did change. Today, 35-year-old champion bodybuilder. Year and a half, she lost 100 pounds. Her weight dropped from 244 pounds to 144. Pam shrank from a size 24 to a buff 6.
I actually would have never believed you if you would have told me I was going to do bodybuilding competition and win. You know, at 244 pounds, 49% of body fat, who would think? Who would think that I could do that?
It started with a visit to a bookstore. She discovered a fitness book full of
An amount of body fat to lose. And I thought, that needs to be me. I need to show that an overweight, unmotivated, depressed female with lots of life struggles can have victory over this and can be fit and athletic.
She learned that many diets fail because they're based on deprivation. Weight by eating more. The trick is to eat 6 small meals a day, a balance of protein, complex carbohydrates. Pam's exercise routine is rigorous. She works out at 4 a.m. nearly every day.
I thought to myself, Pam, you're either going to be fat for the rest of your life or you're going to lose an hour of sleep.
During the first year, she dropped from 244 pounds to 164 and gained 30 pounds. Instead of giving up, she pumped up her exercise program.
That's when I decided I need to do something more, and I decided to do bodybuilding. We went to a contest and I was hooked.
Jim was so inspired, he decided to train with Pam.
Keep it going. You're strong, Jim.
The wife who once helped Jim walk again has coached him to the winning ranks of 2 bodybuilding competitions. Pam has even turned her parents on to weight training.
Who's got the medal? Let's go.
And she's introduced her 5-year-old daughter, Amanda, to gymnastics.
Now pull up and lift yourself up. There you go, perfect. Toes pointed.
She's become a personal trainer. Pam offers custom-made fitness plans to clients on the internet.
You know, I think back, if it wasn't for the brain tumor, then I probably would, having lost it, I can inspire thousands, hopefully millions. And so I think it's all meant to be.
The first step was about surviving. The next was about, through love and determination, Jim Brown had odds. They can get through anything.
So you ready to crawl on the rocks?